Ever wanted to be able to repaint or spray paint your guns without changing the class and messing up the loot economy? Well, now you can in this free open source mod that I'm about to present. So in this mod, we're going to be talking about what it does. And what it actually does is it allows you to repaint weapons, such as the M4, the Mosin, the FAL, or other future weapons you wish to add retexture-wise into your thing without changing the class name or the class of the item itself. This is very important to most people's economies, as when you add in new retextures or possible retextures, you're adding in new types of weapons into the thing that already technically exists, which means that the number increases. Now, this isn't a problem when you first start your economy, but it is a problem later on down the road. So this mod does exactly what I said it would. It allows you to repaint the weapons without changing the skin. Now, the mod is going to be completely open source, and it was made by Damon Forge and myself. As you can see here, we have a testing versatile paint can. It could be technically any item you want once you're able to get access to the code. So right here we have ourselves all the weapons that are repaintable. The Mosin, the M4A1, the SKS, the Scout, the Winchester, and the FAL. Now these weapons are right now are repaintable, but you can add more weapons to it as time goes on very easily by yourself without any additional help. Later on, after I showcase off this, I will be showing off how to actually do this yourself later on very easily. So, first off, we have ourselves the M4. So I'm going to turn on my HUD, and you can look at it, and with the paint can in my hand, I can switch the paint here. And I can paint it green or I can strip it. So let's go ahead and paint this green. So there we go. Now we have the gun is now painted green. And as you can tell, the animation was really quick. Now what's cool about this is this gun's skin will persist through restarts, players logging in, players logging out, right? And if you don't like it, you can always strip the paint off of the weapon, and you can then see that we now have a beautiful M4A1 just as it should be. Now what's really cool about this is you can actually introduce your own custom skins. So we have the SKS, we can paint this green. Alright, and then we can switch it, and then we can paint this black. Now do note that right now when you paint something you can repaint it the same color, but it does let you know about that. And then here is one of the custom skins that I originally made back when I was running New Dawn for one of my server admins, or my server moderators. As you can see, it is a custom retexture. Now what's really cool about this is this mod actually allows you to not only change the color texture, but also change the RV mat itself. So you can do some really cool things. One of the cool things I could showcase here is for my old server moderator called Drifter. He loved the Winchester, right? So I made him a custom skin. Now, if I get rid of that, you can see that it looks kind of roughed up. There looks like there's some bear marks right there. You get really nice and close. You can see how like it's been torn up. The gloss is starting to peel. The barrel is a little bit scraped up, stuff like that. Now, it was possible with a gold trigger, by the way. This was possible to be done because I changed the texture and the RV map. Now, what I really want to show you is that the class name actually doesn't change when you do this. So let me go ahead and go to my weapons. Bolt action rifles, show, and then we're going to enable this class name feature, right? So the class name of this is the Scout, right? So now if I turn on my things, if I were to paint this green, you can see it still says Scout, but why don't we refresh the ESP just to show you that I did not change the name of the thing. It's still Scout. So Pioneer is the name of it, and the Scout is that. So as you can see, it doesn't do it. But let me show you that when you log out, the weapon in my hand and the game still stay the same. Alright guys, and then as you can see in my hands, I still have the gorgeous looking texture of the SKS, and the Pioneer, or the Scout rather, is still green. Now folks, this is again a open source mod, anyone can use everything else, but do however, please be aware that there is a specific condition to using this. The condition is, the mod may never be monetized. This includes forcing players to pay for content included in this mod or behind any paywall, or locked behind any perks or donation package. Any reports given of this mod being monetized will be asked to be removed from remove the mod from your servers. That is the only stipulation in using this mod. You cannot charge money for this. So, yes, that is that. Now, if you are a server owner or a modder, please stay tuned for the next part because I'm going to explain the process and how this actually works. Alright, so welcome to the part where I explain how this mod works and how you, as a server owner or as a modder, can utilize and make this mod into your own kind of situation. Again, this mod is open source, so if you wanted to as a modder, you could make it part of your own weapon pack and have it so your own weapons could be repainted with a special thing and have your own custom skins and everything else that you wanted all within your own pack without having to rely upon this as a separated mod. However, we're going to treat this like you're doing it for a server, because the situation remains the same. So, the mods is pretty well set up. We have a config CPP, which is right here. Now, the reason why there's a config CPP, even though this is a mostly script-based mod, is that not all weapons, including modded weapons, declare their selections for you to do. So, for you to be able to, let's say, retexture a item, you have to make sure that you declare where the item is retexturable. So in our case, I had to go through for the B95 and for the FAL and declare its hidden selections to the config CPP before I could technically apply a new texture to the weapon or our VMAP. Now, with that in mind, if a model or a weapon does not have a hidden a selection applied to it, or in the P3D or in the model.cfg, it is not possible to retexture, and you need to either request it from the modder or do it yourself. If you wish to know how to do retextures, modding tutorials, I'm pretty sure there's lots out there, as well as I might be making one myself soon. So, going forward, the majority of this, besides the config CPP, is script-based. So, let's say, for example, I want to retexture the AK-101. Now, I have already made it so you can retexture the Mosin, and let me just show you what it looks like when something is created. So this is exactly what is inside of the Mosin base. And I can separate this out for you, okay? So, as you can see here, this is my modded Mosin, and we have a new void here called nd_init textures. This is a thing that me and Damon Forge have made for New Dawn, but it still allows you to do it. And I'm going to explain how this overall works right here, as well as add in comments. So what we have here is, this is the name displayed to the players, right? This is the color. And then all the way over here is the RV mount, right? Now, the thing here to remember here is that this is the name that would be displayed to the player when they go to paint the weapon. So you can call it whatever you want, right? And then you have to give the proper pathing to the color texture, which is the CO. And then it goes and, which is the comma here, and then it does another pathing. And this is using actually a already built-in feature in DayZ of being able to apply textures or remove textures based off circumstances. So a lot of this mod already uses vanilla-based mechanics. So it's already pretty much in there. So if you were to add something to, let's say, the Mosin, you would literally just copy and paste. And then we would call this example, right? And then we would change the file path to whatever we want it to be for the color, and then this. And then when they go to paint in game, they would get camo. They could change to black. They could change to shrimp, or they could change it to example. Now I'm going to show you how to do this from the very, very, very beginning. So we're just going to copy this, and then we're going to go to we're going to create a new file, right? So we're going to go new, and then we're going to copy this AK101, right? Now, when it comes to making changes to a mod, you don't necessarily need to declare its inheritance. You just need to make sure that you do this. And then all we do is we just copy this, and then we go boom. Now, what I like to do, and this is me personally, is I like to add in the strip is going to be, let's go ahead and change the code to C. I like to make strip, which means to strip off the paint, the same texture as the vanilla weapon. So if we go over to this config CPP, we can scroll all the way down to the coloring for this weapon, right? So the AK101, and here is the color, right? So then we would put this here. Now, as you probably noticed, there is double slashes. You got to make sure you have the double slashes working, otherwise it will not work. And then we go back here and we get the RV map, right? Now, the reason why we're only choosing the first one is because technically that's all we need to choose. All right, so there we go. So boom, and boom, and then boom, boom, boom. Now, if I really wanted to, as you can see here, there is a black, but it only has a color code. Well, it's easy to change things based off a color code. So now that I have this strip here, what I could do is I can copy this, and then I can paste this right there, and then I can paste this right here, right? And then we can call this, red, and then we could call this yellow, right? And now I can just go back here to the painted textures, and I can grab this, and then we're going to actually rename this to black. And then when I put this here, and someone goes to paint this black, this is what it will look like. It will be a black texture. And then, let's say I knew the color code for red here. I could then do that here. Right? So then I could be like, whatever red is. So, 99, right? And then, voila! Now, when someone looks at a AK101, they will get red, they can switch to black, or they can do strip, and they can paint their weapons. And it will stay persistent and stay there for as long as they need it to be. This is pretty much the basics of it. Now, there are more intricate stuff to it. If you know what you're doing, then feel free. The weapon base is technically done here. So as you can see, we modify the weapon base and we add in the variables that we need to work on, and then we add in our own voids and all that kind of stuff. So this should work with most mods, and if not, it's open source, so you can make best use of it again. And everything else. Of course, I would like to make sure that I do repeat that this mod may never be monetized. This includes forcing players to pay for content included in this mod or behind any paywall or locked behind any perks or donation package. Any reports given of this mod being monetized will be asked to be removed from the server. Now, furthermore, I do want to point out, guys, this right here, this on EE on CE crate was our attempts, and we were working on it and still are working on it, to making it so a random texture from the list up here could be applied to a weapon upon server upon the weapon's creation. So if you had a Mosin base and you had all these textures, let's say you had like 20, this would make it so when the Mosin would spawn in the world, it would pull randomly from one of those 20. We never got it fully working, but I do plan on working on this more. That's why it's commented out. But yeah, folks, that is the mod. I hope everyone enjoys it. And yeah,